Welcome back to I Wish They Knew, a show where leaders in business and education share a tip, practice, or insight they wish others knew more about. I'm Joe Hirsch. Today's wish comes from Cy Wakeman. Cy is the founder of Reality-Based Leadership. She's also the author of a book by the same name, and she, with her team, helps organizations, large and small, ditch the drama, restore sanity to the workplace, and turn excuses into results, which sounds about right to me. Cy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Such a pleasure.
You're the mother of 4 boys. I'm the father of 4 boys. And my wife wants me to ask you today, what can we do in our own house to restore some sanity and ditch the drama?
Love it. I have 2 tips. Lower your standards. Just lower your standards. And I say come close in. So many parents with boys, they would know what to do in the moment if they stayed in the moment, but instead they go out into the future. They're like, oh, these kids are going to end up in juvenile delinquency centers. Like, if you want stress, get a future. If you want no stress, just stay in the present moment and just teach to the moment, not trying to save them from their own future. They'll figure that out.
I like that. The key to happiness is low expectations.
Yeah.
I'll pass that along. But you spend a lot of time helping organizations deal with really thorny issues that affect the everyday cadence of work, relationship drama, drama between employees and employers, people not feeling like their best selves. What do you wish more people knew or did when it came to drama and ego in the workplace?
I wish that people could come to know for sure that suffering is completely optional and often self-imposed. Pain happens, the suffering is the part we add. We have a busy day, we add, it's crazy. We have a boss who prefers more details than we like to give. We add that they're a micromanaging boss who treats us like a child. Like, that suffering is just completely optional.
So what can people do to find themselves in a better position to make that choice? Sometimes we feel, rightfully so, that we don't have control over all the events in our lives.
Yeah, and the reality is we don't have control over hardly any events in our lives. In order to make this happen, people need to understand how their mind works and understand how the world works. If you understand how your mind works, you'll quit getting played by your ego, and you'll realize like your ego's not your amigo. You will stop believing everything you think. People just don't have experience with the fact that they're not the thinker, they're the observer of their thinking, and that their superpower is the moment of agreement or inquiry, staying curious even about their own thinking. And if people knew how the world works, they would stop arguing with reality. And most people suffer because they're in an argument with reality, one that they'll lose 100% of the time. This shouldn't be happening. This is, I hear it today. These times are unprecedented. It's not, somebody should be doing something. We should have leadership. These times are challenging and disruptive and horrendous. And we witness as if we have nothing to do with it. And I'm like, you guys, these are unprecedented times, but there are times. We co-created this, and it is our time. We're in this moment for a reason. We've got to stop believing or thinking that we're victims, and we've got to step up, use all of our intelligence to co-create a better world. And just at the time we need to step up and believe in emerging for the better, our ego would have a step down and see ourselves in the light of a victim. And that's where the suffering comes from.
Is it just a matter of coming to terms with a reality that we can't always change and control? Or are there concrete actions or shifts in our mindset that we can make that will allow us to become greater authors of our own life story?
Definitely things that we can do. So once you learn that your stress comes from your story, not your reality. So our stress comes more from the stories we make up about reality. You can do something called edit your story. You can really listen into your thinking and put on paper, away from the ego, the story that you're absolutely sure of. They did this on purpose and I'm the victim here. And if you go back then using all of your intelligence, not just your most primitive part, and you edit your story, they did this on purpose. I can't know that to be true.
Yeah.
You know, this is how my life will be for the next 100 years. I can't know that to be true. You'll realize that what you get down to is a reality that just is so much kinder than what we thought. And now that you've loosened the ego's grip on your world, you can see infinite possibilities, so you can emerge evolved. So the distinct actions people need to take before they want to impact the world is to allow themselves to be evolved by the world. So as we're going through this crisis, I want people, you don't have to be traumatized, you know, allow yourself to be impacted and evolved by what's happening, not traumatized. More people emerge from profound traumatic events with post-traumatic growth than post-traumatic stress. And we're not talking about that difference. And so there's so many things people need to do to evolve internally and enhance their own wisdom. The more you evolve internally, the more you can externally walk very lovingly and skillfully through a difficult world. And so it really is, stop focusing on what's happening in the world and focus on what it's revealing to you, what needs to be evolved in you so that you can walk through the world more skillfully and more peacefully. That's where we can really come together, co-create, and make a difference.
It's not just a process of sifting and sorting through these challenges. I imagine there are also things that leaders can do to try to set a positive, productive course for their employees. What are some of the things that you've observed at the leader level that can help people take back control of their life when things seem to be spinning out of control?
Certainly. So for leaders, I just illustrate for them that everybody has like a toggle switch, a light switch on their forehead, like an invisible switch. And when it's toggled down, they're seeing the world through the lens of ego, and the data's corrupted, they're the victim. It's the circumstances why they can't succeed. They're externally focused, they're panicked, they're anxious. The first thing leaders need to do is help people toggle up so that instead of using the primitive part of their brain, which is very limited, black or white, win or lose, they can toggle people up so they tap into all of someone's intelligence. And the way to toggle people up is a simple act of self-reflection. What do you know for sure? If you were great right now, what would great look like?
Yeah.
If we were just focused on the next hour, what would you need? It's a technique I call come close in. People get so stressed about the future. They're like, well, if you think about this and there's flu season and we don't have enough graduates and our kids are going to miss 2 years of school and then we're all going to be in, you know, a horrible situation. Leaders can go, you know what, let's come close in, heart to heart for the next hour. Is that something manageable? Do you have what you need? How can I best support you for the next day, for the next week? Let's start on solid ground. But so many times we give up what we know and can impact for what we don't know and can't impact. And so it's just helping people. Leaders right now need to manage the energy of people, not people. We need to manage energy away from why we can't and how this is all going to end to what would an incredible future look like? What are the incredible positive possibilities here? There's many of them. And how do we move our energy into making that happen? So all day long, I help leaders move energy away from why we can't, why we shouldn't have to how we could. What do we want to create and how can we make that happen? So that they're toggling people up, they're tapping into this amazing collective genius we all have together. And they're really plug and playing into not just impacting the future, but impacting the future while allowing and holding space for us ourselves to be impacted by the future. And that's the key. A lot of us come out controlling, like we're just going to make a difference. But making a difference is an iterative dance with coming out into a collective group with one data point and then allowing that to be evolved and allowing yourself to be grown by the experience itself so that you keep bringing better data points to join in with others. It's a whole new skill set for leaders.
Sift and sort, come to terms with truth, and help others navigate all the various ups and downs to see that clear path for their
See
own
the
personal
clear
growth and
path.
progress.
And the clear path will show them where they need to grow next and evolve next to be more capable of walking skillfully in this world-place, this new world we're creating.
It's a great wish. Thanks, Cy, for sharing your wish with us today.
Thank you.